The Vegas Golden Knights are your 2022-2023 Stanley Cup champions, and it only took the franchise 6 years to do it, right? No big deal, right? So let's put a bow on the Stanley Cup final with VSiN's NHL analyst, MacNeil. Andy, there you go, my man. Look, we were spoiled with the postseason, but we got spoiled even more last night. 9 goals in a closeout game. What a series. So I'm going to ask you, what was the deciding factor in this series? Was it that Vegas was just that good, or did Florida's luck finally just run out?
Well, I think both teams had luck on their run to the Stanley Cup final, and Florida's luck did run out in a sense, but it was the Golden Knights' depth, particularly on offense, that was able to get them to this Stanley Cup championship. I mean, they showcased that in Game 5, scoring 8 goals on Sergei Bobrovsky, and they tortured opposing goaltenders all playoffs long. So at the end of the day, it was the fact that Vegas got scoring from throughout their lineup that was the biggest reason they won the Stanley Cup in 2023.
All right, let's move on and talk to the Panthers, man, because, I mean, they made themselves a run. But in sports, there's wins, there's losses, and there's lessons. So what's next for this organization? What lessons can they take away from their Stanley Cup run?
Well, I think the biggest lesson is that just getting into the playoffs is the main thing. Of course, the Panthers won the President's Trophy in the 2022 season, but they just squeaked in the playoffs this year and went on this magical run. Of course, last year things fizzled out pretty quickly for them in the second round, so probably not worth it to put as much effort into capturing that regular season trophy, and they learned the hard way.
Let's go back to Vegas, because it was pretty much a team full of misfits. Cassidy got fired from the Bruins. Jack Eichel showed Buffalo while they made a mistake, and Jonathan Marchessault won the Conn Smythe versus the team that let him go in the expansion draft. The Misfits got the last laugh, eh?
Yeah, I mean, Vegas, credit to them for believing in what they were building all along. I know they've got a rap as maybe being sort of a disloyal organization, trading away some players like Marc-Andre Fleury comes to mind, but I don't think that's the case. I mean, 7 players, the Misfits on that team went all the way from year 1 to the Stanley Cup win this year. So Vegas had a core, they stuck with it, and they did well, did good by them by adding and insulating them with players like Mark Stone and Jack Eichel and Alex Pietrangelo.
Yeah, Vegas won the Cup. We saw teams like the Kraken, the Panthers, and Devils shake up the postseason. I got to ask you, man, is this a new era in the NHL?
Yeah, I think it's trending that way. Some of these teams like the Panthers, the Sabres, the Devils on the rise in the future for sure. But this offseason is an interesting one. I don't think there is a lot of intrigue in the free agent market, a really weak free agent class, but there's a lot of buzz in the trade market, and particularly when it comes to goaltenders. I mean, there are maybe a dozen teams in the league that could have a new starting goaltender next season, and of course, goaltending is such a huge, of huge importance in the NHL season. And particularly I look at the Winnipeg Jets with Connor Hellebuck, a former Vezina Trophy winner, arguably one of the best goaltenders in hockey. And he could be finding a new home this offseason, and it could be in the Eastern Conference with a team like Buffalo or New Jersey. So that'll be something that could really shake up the NHL heading forward.
Really quick, wild prediction, who wins it next year?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, the teams at the top are the teams that should be there: the Edmontons, the Maple Leafs, the Bruins. But I do look in the Western Conference at a team like maybe the Dallas Stars, who have some young stars on the rise: Jason Robertson and Miro Heiskanen, 2 superstars in the making. Just turning 24 this summer, both turning 24 a few days apart in July. So they've got a lot of good things ahead of them, of course, with Jake Ottinger in goal. But I am looking at the Los Angeles Kings. I'm waiting for them to figure out their goaltending situation. But I think the Kings are a team on the rise, too. They've done a good job of drafting and developing prospects. They need to get their goaltending situation figured out. But the Kings are definitely a team on the rise, in my opinion.
Dang, I was worried that I'd put you on the spot, but you just nailed that, my man. Andy, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, of course. Anytime, Brandon.